Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of Mr. Monroe's Math, where we talk about finding the volume of rectangular prisms and finding how many cubes would be in there. And we're going to talk about first whole number or integer side lengths, and then we're going to get into fractional side lengths as well. So first of all, let's find how many cubes would be in this figure here, this rectangular prism or right rectangular prism with all right angles, if one cube is 1/2 by 1/2 by 1/2, just like this smaller cube here. How many of these smaller cubes would fit in this value here? So we could take our shortcut that we talked about from method 1. Notice there's also method 2. We'll get to that in a moment. But method 1, which is probably the easiest, safest, most convenient way for us to solve this. We take this model. We look at this model here, and you see the values given. We know that 1/2 inch, okay, if we saw our ruler, as we had before, so 0 to 1 inch, how many half inches are in there? Well, there's one section and there's two sections, so there would be two of those, essentially doubling our size. So we drew a line through the measurement here, and we find out that 10 divided by 1/2, or essentially multiplied by 2, since they're doubling, would be a total of 20 of those smaller cubes that would line up across. Okay, so what about the width? Well, 4 times 2 would be 8, and the height, 6 times 2, would be 12. So we multiply those values in. So we have 20 times 8 times 12. And what would be easiest to multiply first out of these? Well, we could do 20 and 8. We could also mix them up a little bit, but I find the easiest to be 8 and 12. By keeping a power of 10 with the 0 here, that's going to be easier for us to multiply last if we do not have a calculator. So 8 times 12, which would give us 96. And we multiply 96 and 20. So essentially, what is 96 times 2? Well, double 96 would be 192. And then by a power of 10 with that 0 here, 192 times 10, add a 0, and we get 1,920 cubes. Now, does that look like a lot of work was done there? No, but we still find out how many cubes were done. That is just one method. Another method, which would help especially when we deal with fractions, okay, is the second method. But here we're going to use whole numbers again. So in method 2, determine the number of cubes that fit across the length, width, and height of a rectangular prism. Then determine how many cubes fit in the prism by using the volume formula. Volume equals LWH, or length times width times height. Secondly, we're going to then calculate the volume of the unit cube meaning the small little guy, okay? And then multiply the total number of cubes by the volume of each cube or unit cube. And by multiplying, we're going to be multiplying fractions. So essentially we might be dividing, right? So each of those little unit cubes, we can do a quick three-dimensional one. Notice that it's 1/2 by 1/2 by 1/2, if you can see that. There we go. Okay, so by having those values there, all right, we can also talk about these measurements here. So first, we want to find the volume of the entire shape here. So volume equals length, which is 10, times the width, which is 4, times the height, which is 6. 6 and 4 give us 24 because we have a 10 right there, which means we can multiply this by 10 to get just a 0 at the end, which means 24 times 10 is 240. So this is 240 inches cubed, and it's cubed because it's a three-dimensional figure. We're not finding the cubes yet, because second, we want to calculate the volume of each unit cube, each of these smaller ones. So each cube is, and we talked about this in class, so this is a bit of a review because you did this today. Each cube is 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2, which gives us a measurement of 1 times 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, so it'll be 1/8 inches cubed. I ran out of space, I'm sorry, otherwise I would put the unit there. So then we take the 240, the volume of the whole shape, we take this unit here and divide it by 1/8, or as we know in keep change flip for dividing fractions, we're going to change that up. It's going to be 240, which is also written over 1, times 8 over 1. And by multiplying 240 times 8, and yes, I'm using a calculator to check my work, okay, is 1,920 cubes, which gives us the same as method number 1. So that's how you would solve that using whole number values. Now, get ready because the next video is going to have this linked up with fractional side lengths. So hopefully that was a good review. Smash a like on there, and of course, as always, glitter's my favorite color.